Former Maryland Congressman John Delaney was the first Democrat to formally announce his 2020 presidential run in July. Congressman Delaney, welcome to the show. Thanks for joining.
Thanks for having me, Brooke.
All right, let me dive in on this Elizabeth Warren news here, because you were one of the wealthiest members of Congress when you served. And so here is Senator Warren. She is obviously doing this in part to stand out, from people like you, her competitors. How do you respond to this?
Well, I don't take any PAC money or any corporate money either. I mean, my campaign is focused on the issues that matter to the American people. I'm not sure this issue matters actually that much to the American people. They want to know that you're going to put their interests first, which is what I'm committed to doing, that you're not taking money for PACs or any of that kind of stuff, and that you're focused on solving the problems that affect their day-to-day lives, whether it be health care or pharmaceutical prices or whatever the case may be.
But
so,
obviously,
I've been
money
following it that
matters.
closely.
Obviously, money matters in politics, right?
It does.
You have to raise the money to run, and so if she won't meet with these mega affluent donors, go to these fundraisers, accept phone calls from them, do you think she should accept their checks?
I don't really have any opinion on what Senator Warren does in terms of how she plans on funding her campaign or who she raises money for, or any of that stuff. It's not really relevant to what I care about. And what I care about is talking to voters about what they care about and solving problems that affect their daily lives and laying out a vision for our country's future and actually addressing some of the really big issues we have, whether it be climate change or the effect that technology and automation is having on our workforce. These are the issues that really matter to the American people. And I think every campaign's got different strategies as to how they execute against their campaign. I've got my strategy. I'm sure she's thought through her strategy.
Sure. Well, here's a big issue on foreign policy. The president, as we speak, is up in the air on his way to Vietnam for his second summit with Kim Jong-un. And if you were president of the United States, how would you be tackling North Korea?
Well, I would insist on denuclearization of North Korea, right? That should be our goal from this summit.
How is that any different from what Trump wants?
Well, I think it is what he wants, right? So, listen, I hope this summit is successful. I mean, North Korea possessing nuclear weapons and the destabilizing force they have in the region and potentially around the world, everyone should care about that. Democrat, Republicans, Independents. I hope the summit is successful.
Would you want to meet with Kim Jong-un as well?
I have nothing against engaging diplomatically. And if I thought that I could deliver an outcome that was positive for the American people and improve the national security, I absolutely would meet with them. Now, the key is not to give up too much, right? I do worry that the president, in his goal to kind of have some victory where he waves the flag and says he got something big out of North Korea, he agrees to do something that really hurts the interests of the United States of America, like pulling our troops out of the Asia-Pacific region, for example. I do not think he should do that for almost any concession with North Korea. I mean, North Korea is the isolated nation it is because of terribly bad behavior. And I think they have an opportunity to potentially re-enter the kind of the world stage, if you will, economically, if they agree to denuclearize, right? And that should be enough incentive for them to do that. We should insist on a deal that we can verify, we can inspect, we can find out what we're doing. But we shouldn't be pulling our troops, for example, out of the region in exchange to get North Korea to do something like this. So I worry about the deal he cuts, but, every American should root for a successful outcome.
What about, Congressman Delaney, you mentioned climate change as something that matters to you. And so the news that came out in the last 24 hours is the fact that the White House is now assembling basically this ad hoc group of scientists to reevaluate climate science conclusions. So translation, the president wants skeptics to discredit his own government's assessment of climate science. And his pick for U.S. ambassador to the United Nations just said this about climate change. Listen to this.
Do you yourself believe in climate change?
I believe there are sciences that are on both sides that are accurate.
You believe that there's science that proves that man is not causing climate change?
Well, I think that both sides have, they have their own results from their studies, and I appreciate and I respect both sides of the science.
Both sides. She said it 3 times. I see you shaking your head. Is that disqualifying?
Yes, I think it's disqualifying. I mean, there's no both sides to this debate. Just like there was no both sides to what happened in Charlottesville, right, around race relations in this country, right? Both sides seems to be a phrase that they like to use in this administration. There is no both sides argument on climate change. The facts are clear, they're unassailable. It's happening and human behavior is contributing to it. We have to do something right away to avert the most negative consequences. We're already looking at pretty negative consequences. I have a plan to do that. I think my plan is consistent with positive economic growth. We can put a carbon tax in place. I introduced the only bipartisan carbon tax bill in the Congress. I think I can get that done in my first year as president. We should be increasing the Department of Energy research budget by 5-fold to actually innovate our way out of this problem. We need new technologies in storage and energy distribution. We ought to be investing in these technologies that can actually pull carbon out of the atmosphere. We need leaders in our country that understand how significant a risk this is, bring the American people around common sense solutions that can actually get done, and confront this so that my kids and everyone's kids out there and our grandkids actually live in a world, the kind of world that we've been able to enjoy.
Congressman John Delaney,